Okay, so we got the 135 here. We have to do that little, oil filter housing gasket for the turbo. We had this thing down here a while back. It's been quite a while ago, 6-7 months ago. And we did the water pump, we did some hoses, did the brakes. Man, I don't remember. We did the lower oil filter housing gasket. Basically did all the hard stuff. So today we have a red brake light on. We're going to do that gasket. We're going to just kind of check everything out, make sure it's good. It's been doing good, no issues, and see the status of everything. All right, so where we're at here, let me see. So these have two different gaskets, right? It has this front housing on the N54 because it has to run the turbo off of that and cool the turbo, and then it's the gasket right here. And then the other gasket is down under the intake manifold. You got to pull the manifold to get that out. And the result is it pulls up here next to this guy, and it could also be your O-ring on your oil filter leaking, but we know in this fact it's not, because we replaced that, did it before and after, since we didn't have that. Now we put sealer on it, but the gasket was pretty old and it's pretty flat. I don't know if sealer would even help that completely. Apparently it did not. And so basically we're just going to go ahead and pull the cowling out here. There's 4 screws, 2 there, 2 right there, and that should come out. And maybe if we're real lucky, we don't have to pull the fan out, because pulling the fan out in a 1 series is not my idea of a good time. And this one had a break in the side of it. Hate to take it out anymore because it's risky. Once they're broken, somebody had Gorilla Glued on it, I remember right before. Once they're broken, you could easily snap the whole thing in 2 pulling out. We don't want to do that. So yeah, let me get, how do I get my tripod in here? I think I probably will. Balance the tripod up here real risky like, and we'll shoot pulling this apart. And since there is a little bit of oil on the lid, I don't know if it's mixing or not, but it can mix oil and coolant right there at that gasket. He said there was. Yeah, there is a little bit on there. It's not bad. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull that out. If we can't tell when we pull it out, we'll have to pull the oil filter housing lid off and look at the filter and make sure it's not all full of coolant. So yeah, let's get started. All right, kids, here we go. We got a T20. Get up here without knocking the camera off. T20 on our battery impact. There's 4 of these. 1 there. 1 there. Whoop. Well, let me retake that. And this one, there's 3 of them because there's 1 missing. We're going to put these somewhere we're not going to lose them temporarily. Tripod, what are you doing over there? Like you about fell off. I'll buy a new camera for this is over. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and pull, what was the deal? This first, I remember that, and that goes out like that. And that whole air duct piece pulls out. That leaves this guy here, and I don't know if I can get below that or not. I had to pull this guy out, this guy out. That's those E sockets or E bolts. And I think there was another one down below there. Remember right? Yeah. So I don't know, but that's what the deal is. I don't remember if we had to take these guys out or not. There's 2 O-rings. There's a 1 bolt in the very bottom. If we do have to take that out, we're gonna have to take the fan out, and that's not gonna be any fun. Look at that. We're not touching the camera with that mess. Ew. Okay. So we are gonna take the fan out. There's a bolt I mean, maybe you could get this off without that, but holy crap, man. You spend more time trying to fidget with that bolt in the bottom than just taking the fan out. So there's a T20 torque screw coming from the bottom that attaches the fan shaft from the bottom. There is no screw here, and there is a T25 on that side. And we're just going to unplug this main fan. Maybe. What was the deal with this damn thing? This job on a 335, see I took the wrench and pushed the button on the, this job on a 335 is super easy. The car is bigger. Even that E90 we've been working on, this fan, there's like this much space in between the crankshaft pulley and the fan. So let's go ahead and get this plug out of the way. And this is quite the pain in the ass. Alright, so on the boost tube, this fan shroud slips down with a notch down the boost tube. So we're just going to try to pull it up out of there. I think I have to get my long screwdriver. I think it's a clip and you got to pop it. Let's see. Okay, so I just took this guy, stuck him in there and turned it, and it pops that clip loose that holds onto the boost tube. And the problem we have here is it's actually, the fan is actually too big for the car. The BMW just kind of crammed in there anyway, so you could barely get it back and past that. Just slip it up out of there. I feel like they did a little bit worse on this than the E39 fan shroud. Okay, so I set the camera down to slide back underneath of it, and I got it free from the boost tube. I pried a little bit sideways. Had it like this, went to get the camera, and it fell back down in there and got stuck again. So anyway, pull up a little bit further so it held itself. Pull it out the rest of the way. It just, I mean, it barely comes out of there. You can see this one was snapped in half before, and somebody tried to Gorilla Glue it. And I guess what we could do, why didn't I do that? We could try to Frankenstein it with zip ties, but I think last time why I did not do that, because it's so damn close to the fan, zip ties to hit the fan. So anyway, that disaster's out of there. So now gloves are getting dirty, might as well just take them off and pick you guys up and show you what's happening. That was almost the hardest part of these cars, the 135s. The other one, the harder part was the water pump. The water pump, that was a good one. We watched those old videos when we did that or not. But that was real special, that job was. That was about as fun as getting poked in the eye with a sharp stick. Anyhow, so BMW's played a little bit of a cruel trick on us again here. I remember now what the deal was. There's a coolant line right here, which is plastic, and it goes on, it has one or two, has one bolt that holds it in, it has an O-ring. Those plastic ends, you gotta be very careful when you take it apart because they turn to like a cardboard substance supposed to get some age on them. Last time I got it out, ever so gently, it's got more miles on now. Hope that comes out. But anyway, we got to take that out. That covers up that E-series bolt down there, which holds this whole freaking disaster from the bottom. And yeah, so once we do that, we can't leave the lines hooked up, and then we fold the whole thing back. We clean her up, put the new gasket on, and reinstall. Now, BMW, I think, is supposed to really recommend you replace the bolts. We don't have new bolts for this one. These are stainless bolts. I can see they're not marked with the blue stuff, and they're not aluminum, so it should be fine. There should be no problem with reusing those whatsoever. And just in case you're wondering, You can see the transmission cooler down there. The fan shroud has a bolt, has a T20 in there that bolts that to the bottom of that to hold the transmission cooler. So yeah, I don't know, it's kind of a funky setup. You can see some oil down in there against, you probably won't be able to see it on this damn thing, but you can see it, that a lot of that was from the old gasket, the inner gasket that was leaking so bad. We tried to spray it off with the car wash, but you know, only so much of that crap will come off. And I see a little bit of fresh right there leaking out of the corner of that, but I don't see anything on the belt. The belt's nice and dry. So yeah, I don't know, let's just go ahead and keep going. Get her taken apart and see what the business is. Okay, so we just pulled off the hose over here. My hands are so damn dirty I can't hardly show you guys what's going on. Wipe them off a little bit. There we go. Good Lord. Tripod was super tight. Okay, so there is 2 bolts on it. I forgot, there's 2 bolts and there's a little flange. I'm gonna pull this off of here. It's probably gonna leak antifreeze all over my trailer, but it is what it is. We're gonna wiggle it back and forth real slow and be real super gentle with it. And maybe the BMW guys will smile at us and not kick us right in the teeth. Get out of there. Oh, I know it's coming. Yep, there you are. Gonna be a whole shoe full of antifreeze. I don't see anything mixing, which is good. Nasty mess. I'm gonna have to let it out though, because there you go. You can see right now the flange, and this still looks good. This car is not high mileage. If this was high mileage, guys, before you even think about doing this job, have a new one of those hoses sitting here. I don't remember what they're called. They're called oil filter housing, the thermostat hose. And you're gonna have a real fun time putting that on that thermostat. That's gonna be some real sweet action, let me tell you. So you do have to do that from underneath, by the way, and you do have to take the skid plate off, and I don't remember, maybe the thermostat out. Anywho, let's hope that don't happen to you guys. We're gonna go ahead and pull this E bolt out, this E bolt, and the one on the bottom. That should release it all. So let's do her tour. Okay, so these are E12s. I just broke this one loose, no problems at all. Break this one loose too. The bottom one looks like it's probably an E10. We're gonna lose some coolant, maybe no coolant since we took the lower hose off. We're definitely gonna lose some oil out of this disaster whenever we pull it off. Come on. Yeah, so stainless screws. Like I said before, aluminum ones have blue markings on top to let you know it's aluminum screws. If you don't know, they had to use aluminum bolts or screws on anything that went in the block, because the block is magnesium. If they put stainless or any kind of metal against magnesium, it'll corrode it. Why do they use magnesium? Well, to be honest with you, nobody really knows. To save a couple pounds, maybe. I don't know if magnesium is actually, I'll be damned. I told you wrong. It actually is a E12. Is magnesium stronger? I don't really know. I don't know if that was their solution to the stripped head bolt problem. I don't know if magnesium dissipates heat better. There really is no way to tell without looking it up, doing some research on it. Alright. There's our E10 right there, and that should break our lines off here. I don't think there'd be that much coolant in there, but there is. Got some in my shoe too, so that's always good. Oh, let's see here. Do that. I don't really want to let that down. You stay right there and don't leak any oil out. We'll be good. And then there's going to be another. What's the deal? Can't actually see in there. I think that was just a regular bolt. Feels like a 13. Yeah. Alright, let me shut this camera off. We're going to pull that 13 and come back. It's getting boring. Okay, just pull the 13 out. It is right there, my friends. Pull the whole thing off here. There we are. Yes, I wouldn't have had to pull the lower out. I forgot that's only for the lower housing, the little bolt that goes up from there. But still, it's not that big of a deal. We'll lost all the coolant anyway. So here's this disaster. You can see it has coolant and oil both in there. So we're probably just going to run this bad boy through the parts washer, clean it all up real nice, and try to get that oozed down enough to where it's not dripping. Before we put this back together, we're going to take some carburetor cleaner or brake parts cleaner and spray off these pulleys and stuff, anything that the stuff got on, because that will deteriorate those parts if you leave it set on there long enough. So yeah, there we go. Take a good look at it now. We'll be right back. Okay. So got this got cleaned up pretty good. Not too bad, not too bad. Now I have a brand new can of carburetor cleaner that won't spray, so that's going to be interesting because we kind of need that. We have our old gasket, which is pretty hard and pretty petrified, so we're going to toss it. We'll show Micah when we take this car back what the old one's like, even though he probably already knows. We've got a little bit of magic water here. We're going to have to supplement for our carburetor cleaner. Maybe we'll give her a little, give her a little drinky poo down there. Wash those belts off. It's kind of the expensive stuff to be doing that with, guys. Probably need to paint off my trailer boards too. This is odorless mineral spirits. This stuff, it's not strong enough to harm plastic or anything. It's much milder than carburetor cleaner. I use that in the parts washer. That's why I had a whole jug of it laying around. The parts washer takes, I don't remember how many gallons it took. 14 gallons or some crazy absurd number of fluid. And we're just going to go with our deal here. Where's my little scratch pad? What did I do? It stuck to the microfiber. We're just going to go in here with that, bend the corner of it, and clean out that slot all around there. Okay. I'm actually looking. We're looking pretty damn good. It's actually pretty good. Not bad. Get a little bit of goo off the bottom of here. More little drinky drink there. Alright, wipe all that sense off. Wipe it off that belt. That belt looks like total crap. The back of it. Has like some buildup. What the hell's going on there? Let me wipe it off. I'll show you guys. Ah, hands are all dirty. There's like some buildup on the back of the belt. I don't know what that is. It could be a little bit of oil. It's kind of coming off. Yeah. Oil or something. I don't know. We'll look into it before we put this all back together for sure. Let me set you guys back in there. And I think we're ready for the new one, which is right here. Got anything to open it up with or not? Okay. And we'll give them this one to keep in the trunk. That's a inner gasket. And we're just going to go ahead and pop this in here. Just like so. Got to make sure we get it the right way. I don't think it can go the wrong way. Yeah, that is a lot softer, more supple gasket. Faux show. Alright, there we go, nice and clean. And we're going to go ahead and reinstall it back in just like BMW intended, with no sealer or anything. So let's go ahead and do her to it. We'll start these top ones. Where are we at here? Start the top ones first. What's the deal here? Just a good tight seal she is. All right. So to do the lower one, you got to pull the intake manifold totally out. This is direct injected, so there's no injectors. The injectors are right next to the coil packs, and you could actually pull that apart. Okay, so where are we at here? Get those run down just a bit, and then we'll put that bottom one in. Just a little bit. Alright, now let's go ahead and go up here with this 13. We're going to put the 13 in the bottom next. And usually these size bolts are around 15 foot-pounds of torque. If they were aluminum, they would be hardly anything at all, for obvious reasons, because you can snap them right off. Do it a couple different stages here. And get them all snug. Okay. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and reinstall this hose, and we'll probably pull this out no matter what. Just take a look at the state of the oil, see what's happening in there. Since these don't have a dipstick, you can't just pull the dipstick and look at it. The oil that ran out of there looked clean, but the filter is going to be the telltale sign of any kind of issue or any kind of problem. Okay, Put the lines back on. Everything's good to go. We're gonna try, maybe, if these are big enough, barely, to take this off. Take a little peek into this N54's feature here and see how she looks. Take a little peek right into her precious little heart. Here we go. That looks fine. The oil's really dirty though. I don't know if he's changed it recently or never, or what the story is, but there's no oil in it. I'll let that drain down a little bit before I can put that back in. But I mean, overall it doesn't look bad really at all. So that's good news. That's good news for sure. So I'll let that drain down just for a second. It's almost there, and we'll reinstall this, make sure it's all snugged up. Maybe we'll give her a little test start before we put the fan back in, just to make sure everything's all good. So let's go ahead and do that now. Alright. It all looks good so far. Got cooling on the vent smoking. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, nothing dripping out of those lines. I want to make sure of that. Let's go ahead and turn it off. We got to do the coolant bleed procedure. We lost too much just to refill it. Okay. So, I just put a little coolant in it. They have there's a bleed screw on top, right by the water neck. And these electric water pumps, basically what you do, you take the screw out, you fill it till it starts coming out of there. And then you leave it at that level. You go in, you turn the heater on, you turn the fan on low, you turn the heater on hot all the way up, and then you, with the key on, you depress the gas pedal until the pump starts running, and it runs like a whole bleed cycle. And you let it run like that until the pump shuts off, then all the air's out. However, look at this guy. That's not gonna work. Okay, so other side like that too. Yeah, this side's lifting up too. That was about to be a real ugly problem. I think the one we have here is, I can't even put that back on. The one we have here is on the other E90. Since yours truly just got Amazon Prime, and the other E90 is still waiting on parts, we'll probably have to swipe it for right now. As long as it's good, I think it's good. And we'll screw a new one on that one. If I send Micah home like this, things aren't going to end well for the 135i. That's for sure. That holds that seal down and actually seals against that. So it's going to blow past that upper seal and just leak out everywhere. So I don't know. Let's turn the key on here and try to locate him another cap real quick. That way he's not down. Okay, so I guess what we're gonna do, maybe we'll call Tracy and verify this before we do it. You hear the pump cycling, and you can see Micah's old cap, that was all rotten and busted, and Tracy's cap's fine. So we'll go ahead and use this. I like to set that on top of there while it's bleeding, because it can spray out or spritz out a little bit. And we're gonna go right inside while we're waiting. I think it takes 12 minutes, I think, to run this whole cycle. While it's doing that, we're gonna go to Amazon, order another one of these. If they're cheap enough, maybe we'll just order 2 of them, have an extra one on hand. Okay, up and running. Don't seem to be any leaks, no problems. You let it run for a little bit, look at everything, make sure everything's good to go. We have, let's see here. The low tire light is still on for all the tires, but I remember right, you have to drive a little bit maybe for it to go off. I don't remember. We need to scan it. We have a brake light on, which is right there, and see what the situation with all that is. If we're lucky, we can take it back tonight. It's been a few hours messing with that stupid fan shroud. Time to take it off and then put it back on and get it all to go in right. It's quite the pain in the buttocks. That belt, I would say in the near future I'd replace that. Had some like buildup on the back side of it. Everything else looks okay. Everything's dry. We'll have to wash our little pocket there by our oil filter housing and make sure. And there still is a little bit of oil afloat to the top of the reservoir, just a little bit. Try to get it out. There's a little more in there, but it shouldn't hurt anything. And yeah, so let's figure out that brake light next. Okay guys, so we got it all done. It's all back together. It's starting to get dark now. No leaks, no problems at all. The brake light problem that was calling for, with the new scanner we scanned it with, is calling for the brake pad sensor, front and rear. Now, when we had this in here 6 months ago, we did brakes on it, but even before then, the light was on. And the brakes weren't that low. I mean, they weren't down to grinding the sensor off. So let's call them and say, well, what do you want to do? You want to bypass them? Do you want to buy new ones? That's your choice. It's throwing it for front and the rear. He said, no, just bypass them. So I bypassed them. They still won't reset. I'm not sure what's going on with that. So I don't know. Do some research on Google. That'll be tomorrow's video maybe. This video is running way too long. I'll have to edit a bunch of this down and time-lapse a bunch of it in or something. That's it guys. That's all for the oil filter housing upper gasket. Maybe is what you call that. For the N54 engine. I don't know. That's it. Thanks for watching guys. See you tomorrow.